What's the point of storing documents on your Mac if you won't be able to easily find them later? Documents are easier to find if you store them in the right place, apply naming conventions, and tag them. So here are some naming conventions that you might find helpful. Firstly, if, as we suggest, you save important email messages that require delving to a PDF file, then you could prefix those emails with the @ symbol, for instance. That will make them easier to find later with Spotlight, and it also makes it easier for you to process the files using Hazel or Automator. One of the most important kinds of files for knowledge workers are meta documents, or the notes you take about meetings or about documents that you read, which we'll deal with in the delving chapter. Because I preface all of my meta docs with a opening square brackets, I can then find them quickly using Spotlight or the sidebar here, which defines a search, the criteria of which you can see here. So find all of my Omni Outliner files that have that start with an opening square bracket. So I've got quite a few meta docs there, as you can see. I also take notes about meetings, and my convention there is to use opening curly brackets. Here are people that I've had meetings with. So whenever I have a meeting, I keep a meta doc. We'll talk about that again in the delving chapter. Some of these naming conventions can be automated. So actually, bibliography managers will give you the option to automatically name files according to the author, if you like, and the date, which is a format I use. So then I can easily find, say, all of the files that have Aaron Sloman as the first author that are PDF. Bang. So there we go. We have 202 files that meet those search criteria. We're going to talk about bibliography managers in more detail in a bit. As I pointed out in the original Cognitive Productivity book, and we'll discuss in further detail below, there are 3 types of tags that you can apply to files. The most common type of tag is the topic tag, such as the tag that we applied here, which is AI. That's the topic of the file. There's also intentional tags. You can actually apply a tag if you use such a system that indicates things you want to do with respect to the document. I use an exclamation mark, for instance. So an exclamation mark means, okay, this is something I have to do, but there's other tags I have. For instance, I might say, this is something to buy or to consider buying or to read, to delve, whatever. So then when you review your readings, of the week, you can look at the ones that have particular actions associated with them. Another type of tag you can apply to files are the caliber tags, where you can indicate whether it's a high or low caliber document. Another kind of tag you can apply to files is the caliber tag. We're going to talk about that in the evaluate chapter. This is not something you will always do, but it can come in handy. We're going to see in the evaluate chapter that there's different criteria you use when you're evaluating documents that you read: the caliber, the utility, the potency, and the appeal. So in our system, the caliber can be reflected with a tag. So this is a high caliber document. Bang. And it actually has a nice little color associated with it. At first blush, and perhaps to most people, naming, filing, and tagging documents may seem like a distraction, a superficial activity. However, there is a cognitive productivity advantage in some cases to some of these actions, right? You take a second to think about what you want to do with this document and whether the document is actually worth the effort. And that extra mindful step is something that can save you time, and it can also help you exploit the document to the maximum